Faith Forged in Fire, where we dive headfirst into the unique challenges and triumphs that comes with being a firefighter, all while exploring what it means to live out a biblical worldview. Join us as we find hope, perseverance, and faith in the midst of the heat and chaos. Welcome to the podcast. All right, are we actually ready?
I think so, but
I don't think so,
All
but
right.
we're recording.
we're doing it.
Welcome to the podcast. Welcome back. I hope this, I think we're working here. All right, good stuff.
Kind of a shakedown cruise. We got some new equipment.
Well, yeah, new equipment. Jake decided to bail on us for a month.
Where? Who? What?
Yeah,
Oh, that's not Jake.
That's not Jake.
Oh.
We'll talk about that later.
I was wondering why he wasn't talking to me.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. There's a good reason. We'll talk about that. So welcome, guys. We're super glad to be back. I will say for me, the break was nice, though. It was needed. I wasn't sure that I would feel it, but I did feel it. I felt the break, but it made me miss this and want to be back. I was really looking forward to tonight.
Thank you.
So, well, I was looking forward to seeing Chief again.
Yeah, once I came in and saw Jake wasn't going to be around, I'm going home.
No, seriously. We hardly talked in that month.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Rich, but otherwise, we text here and there. But anyways, so we're glad to be back tonight or today, whatever you want to call it, this morning.
It's Friday morning.
It is Friday morning.
Sun's coming up. It's supposed to snow this afternoon.
Hopefully, you've got yourself a nice hot cup of what is that place called again?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Red Flannel Coffee. Jake is never not going to be here again.
I know.
No, these yahoos.
I know he's missing us already.
So he will be gone for the month of May, but like I said,
Basically tonight.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
but he did say each Wednesday he was unavailable, so it was a legitimate because the way if you don't know, because we do have some new people, if you haven't figured this out, we record the month one night, so if you miss that night, you miss them all. But if for Jake, it wouldn't have worked any Wednesday,
Right?
So. Yeah. But we'll tell you why in a minute. It really actually, and the reason why I thought this is kind of cool because it ties into our topic. Our topic is kind of this idea of the hidden no behind every yes. I was talking to a retired battalion chief not too long ago, and he's fairly newly retired within the last year, so he's not even been retired a year. And I was asking him how he was doing, and he said he was finding his life was crazy. And as he and his wife were talking about it, he said, we discovered it's our own fault that it's crazy because we can't tell anybody no. And when he and I were talking about that, and I told him that I'm struggling with the same thing, just saying no. That's something I'm really working on right now. We came to this conclusion that I think is valid. We're firefighters. We're not supposed to say no. I mean,
Dispatch won't let us.
Dispatch won't let. We don't get to say no. We can't help you with that.
Right.
But that then starts to pour over into our lives, our daily lives, and that's when it becomes a problem. And I was at a conference, actually the Heroic Deeds conference that I had an opportunity to speak at back in March, and there was a speaker there. I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but I've had it before. Sometimes you go to a conference and there's a lot of good stuff there, but one thing is said and you just walk away with that. And unfortunately, I wasn't smart enough to be that guy that had that one thing. But I think a lot of us walked away with this thanks to a fellow by the name of Dr. Donnie Hutchinson. And I would encourage you guys, go check him out, especially if you are a chief, because one of the things he does is really his business is he wants to help first responders with work-life balance. And that's what this session was work-life balance. And here's what he said. He really kind of introduced this concept of trade-offs, and I had never thought of it this way. But he said every time we say yes to something, because we don't want to say no, right? Some people that's fine, but there's a lot of us that are just wired. We want to help people. And he said, when you say yes, you're still saying no because you're saying no to something else.
Right.
And you might not know what that is. So it's kind of this concept of there's a trade-off in your decision making. So I thought that'd be a great thing for us to talk through. And that's why Jake isn't here. Jake, he had a choice to make. Yeah. And his choice was, I'm going to say no to the podcast so that I can say yes to family.
Yep.
And that's great. We're going to support that. So he's spending time with his little guy because it's T-ball season or softball, or I think he's still little enough for T-ball, but baseball, T-ball, whatever. The point is he's spending time with his family where he should be.
Smart man.
And the games are on Wednesday nights. So good for him. He's said yes to the right thing, which meant that he says no to something else. And the great example of that is, did he say no to something bad? No, he said no to something that's good, but he said yes to something better. And I think that's kind of the key. So before I dive into my thoughts, I just kind of want to throw it out there and see what is this something you guys struggle with? I know it has been for me, but I've really been a lot more intentional. In fact, I've turned down some other speaking opportunities because it just, as much as I wanted to, and they were good things, I felt like I needed to say no.
So it's interesting that you brought that up because, and you guys know, and I don't even know if the viewers know, I've recently in the last 6 months made a job change, and part of that reason was kind of along the same thing. I wasn't willing to say yes to what the job was asking me to do on a regular basis, and I had to just say no. My faith in my family come before my job, and respectfully, obviously. But with that, when I made that change, I noticed more time that I had, and in doing that, I realized this very topic that you're talking about, where I'm getting to an age now where just like physically, I just can't do the things I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I got softball coming up here soon. That I may play a little softball again, and I realize now.
Oh boy!
I know. Wait, hold on. I realized last year is that at my age, in the late 40s, I can't play softball like I was when I was 20. And I realized if I'm going to go out there, I'm going to play like I'm 48 years old and not 20 anymore because I can't afford the hospital bill, doctor's bill. But it's just so. With that said, I was at my church. I was kind of helping out a little bit with the high school ministry, and I just recently had to tell them, "Hey, man, I can't do this anymore. I got too many other responsibilities. My kids got games, and my responsibilities are other places, and I would love to help." But the reality is I can't keep spreading myself so thin because the reality is it's not just that I hurt, that everybody hurts in that. And I just can't do it. So I have struggled with that in the past, but recently I've been finding myself saying, as much as my heart wants to do it, the reality is, and the smart thing to do is that I have to scale back and got to find someone else, and have you ever done that? I mean,
no.
My wife recently did too. Like the church actually called her about, because my wife and my daughter sometimes watch like the little kids and stuff. And it's funny, she got a call the other day. This number kept calling her, and it was someone from the church asking if she would take over like a class, And she's like, "No, I just emailed and said we got to step back from this because it's just too much." And they're like, "Yeah, we can't find anybody to do it." It's like, there's a lot. And again, you feel for a situation,
right?
Like, and just specifically the church, you feel for a situation like, man, can I find anybody to help out? But at the same time, I can't always be your go-to. There's got to be other, you got to find a way to find other people. It can't be like, your default will always, okay, I guess I'm going to do this too. Because again, it's not helping anybody. It's just, and then again, your faith and your family are what's more important. So I don't know. It's just something I've been kind of learning.
It's like with being the chief, there's probably 3 nights a week I could be doing something fire department related. Like we're building that training center, and I'd love to help do all those kind of things. But like you're saying, there's a time you just kind of got to go like, I can't do that. I got to stay home so the family remembers what I look like.
Right.
So there's a lot of opportunities for that training. I mean, you could, if you said yes to every training, you'd be gone 24 days out of the year,
class
or 24 days out of the month,
Yeah.
And those kind of things. So, yeah, and it hurts because especially when you're the chief, everybody thinks you ought to be at everything.
Right.
And I wish I could be at everything,
But it's the same way as a pastor.
I was just going to say,
Right.
as a pastor,
They expect me to be at everything.
Right.
You can't be at everything and still have
And that's why
a life.
you just hope whoever's leading up that project is doing a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, what am I? I'm just going to be another guy swinging the hammer. Just because I'm the chief doesn't mean I'm good help.
yeah. I mean, and where's that? When you're in a job, let's just say a job situation, like you guys, a chief and a pastor. I mean, there's got to be that level where you're like, I realize my position, but there's got to be a breaking point to my position too. Like, there has to be an understanding that I can only do so much in this job. I'm actually dealing with this right now in my current situation where I'm dealing with kind of my former company and having conversations. Part of it's like, I can only do so much. I can't force others to do their job. My job starts here and ends here, and then I got to get someone to pick up from there. Because again, if not, now I'm stepping on someone's toes, right? But in your guys' thing, it's the same thing. Like you're saying with this new training academy, I get it. I'm the chief. I have this. There's a part of that that's my responsibility, but there's also got to be that understanding that I can't spend 80 hours a week doing this project here. Like you got to get other people involved.
And I'm lucky enough, I got my lieutenant, Matt, taking care of it. He's kind of like the head over it. I just trust in Matt.
Yeah.
It's going to get done and he's going to do a good job. So it's like, and it's got to be a lot like you.
Yeah,
There's times you got 15 people coming at you with different ideas, wanting different things. No, you got to be the bad guy because you have to look at all of those and go like, okay, these need to be priorities. This has got to get taken care of today or tomorrow. And the rest of these, I don't think the people realize that this is going to be a long, like I was talking about the issue that we have now where I'm trying to get a hold of people and it's like, man, if you could just get back to me in an hour. Yeah. And I know I'm upset because like, bro, come on, it was pretty easy. It's basically a copy and paste. Why aren't you getting back to me? But then again, you don't know how busy that person is either.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people think that, that should only take you a half hour to get that estimate together. And it's been a week and a half.
Well, then it goes on the sense of the other company, too. If the guy is that busy, you got to get this guy some help so he can do his job.
Well, and that's kind of he's not, somewhere along the line, he needs to say no. Yeah. Right, because
he's got enough to do now.
He's got enough to do now. Here's something I was thinking about, and for me, I would say I'll just be transparent and say, in some instances, this is somewhat of a struggle. I'm curious what you guys think. What about the fact that we don't like to say no because we like to be needed? And sorry, we just heard sirens outside and.
Yeah,
our little town, and not really sure what that was all about.
It was like a unicorn going by. Imagine that. I get so sick of listening to sirens every time I drive a truck, but when I hear one, it's like, siren.
That was funny. We all just stopped.
Like we're trying to figure out where that was coming from. Anyways, I think a lot of times we say yes because we'd like to be needed.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, it feels good, right?
Isn't that why we're basically doing this job?
Right.
I mean, it sounds selfish,
but we want to. We take pride in standing in the gap when nobody else will,
and
right?
helping somebody.
Yeah,
and that's always. And if you have to say no, then you're saying no to somebody's needs, and that's kind of backwards from.
Right.
What's
wired into us to do? Yeah.
Right.
In fact, I had a potential speaking opportunity, and it was presented to me as, "Hey, I thought of you. I think you'd be good at this." And I know it's kind of last minute, but they've had people keep backing out for whatever reason, which that bothers me. Yeah. When you commit to something, do it. So now I'm seeing a couple things. I'm seeing an opportunity I would thoroughly enjoy. I'm seeing I'm needed. I see an opportunity to step in to help in desperation. Yet, I have to look at that and go, okay, but when I say yes to that, what am I saying no to? And I'm saying no to some other things that though that is a good opportunity, what I believe are better opportunities. And I think part of this, you touched on it, Rich, without even realizing it. If we start thinking about, okay, how do we fix this? Part of it is knowing our why. What is our mission in life? What is our true why for living on this earth? And that helps me look at that and go, okay, this might be a good thing, but is it helping me accomplish the best thing? Is it helping me accomplish my true why? It doesn't mean that later on I would say no to that.
Right.
But it means right now the things I have to say no to are more valuable than that. And for me, that just has been really the thing that has really simplified this in a lot of ways. Going, okay, instead of just saying yes, what am I going to have to say no to? And sometimes we go, oh, well, this is still far more important than the things I got to say no to. So you do say yes. But being able to weigh that out, remember that when you read the Gospels, Jesus said no to people?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was not, yes, he was fully human when he lived on this earth, but as God, he could fix everything if he wanted to. We wear out. We wonder why we're so burned out. It's because we won't say no to anything.
Well, even the Lord rested on the seventh day. So I think that's a good message for us to say, listen, you work when you have to work, and then there's that time where you have to just kick back and relax and rest yourself, because like you're saying, it's so easy. And I think it's probably cultural too, right? 'Cause a little bit of this cultural about,
we take pride in being busy in this culture.
We do. I mean, sometimes you need something. You need something to
it's
do.
Not
like
good.
You're fidgety, and it's like, no. Sometimes it's just good to sit back.
Yep.
It's funny as I'm getting older now, is me being who I am in ADHD and all over the place. It's weird because when I look at myself when I was 20, I was like, I couldn't sit still. I'm like, I got to do stuff. And now as I'm getting older, I'm like, oh, I appreciate, even though sometimes it's boring because, I like to be around people and socialize and all that. But it's
just called us boring, PJ.
I know.
I
know.
No, not you.
I filed that away.
This is called backpedaling here.
Let's help him out here.
No, I was
Steve's in the house. He's all party. We're boring.
Yeah. So I'll start just doing impersonations here. I'll have a show of me just doing impersonations. I like doing that, but I think it's funny to impersonate people sometimes. I just get a kick out of it. No, not you guys. I'm saying when I'm at home and it's boring because I want to socialize with people.
We'll leave that one alone.
Yeah, you guys, I didn't get a chance to finish, but no, I mean.
At least it's warm. Get to sleep in your car tonight.
No, but I mean, I realize it's good for me. I need to have that time where I shut things off and I just lay and I just relax and stuff like that. So I'm learning to appreciate that. And that's part of that balance that I'm talking about, where, again, that part of me, I like things like a kid and I want to just get after it and do stuff. But I'm like, no, I just realize now it's smarter for me to back off and balance. I was talking about balance, right?
And part of that is the reason this really is why we didn't have a podcast last month.
Yeah.
We hit a spot we were trying to figure out with FDIC, and you were gone, I was gone. Jake had stuff going on. I think you had stuff going on, and it was like, you could already tell, like, this is going to be a pain just to find a spot.
Yeah.
And we're not even going to be able to sit and actually enjoy the podcast. We're just going to be cranking them out to do them.
Yeah.
Part of it is trusting God, because we struggle with not having a podcast for that long because, we're gaining some traction and we're growing. Same thing. We feel needed, right? Instead of just saying, look, let's let the Lord, if he's going to grow this thing, he's going to grow this thing. We need to have some balance in life, and it's okay to say no. And it was hard to say no, but in that time of it was great. Not to mention now I feel much more ready for this again.
Feel refreshed.
Yeah.
Could a little bit, and as I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking, could a little bit be the sense of accomplishment as well? Sometimes we like to be busy because we accomplish something.
Yeah.
Especially if we accomplish something that people notice we accomplished and they give us kudos, because we want kudos too. It's the needed, but also we all, I think in some respect, have a sense of we want a pat on the back. We want a kudos. So if you go do something, hey, thank you so much. You really saved us and saved it. Man, you're amazing and all those things. And you're like, I feel pretty good about myself. I did something good, But again, you burn yourself out while trying to do it.
Well, and that's like you're saying, the burnout and stuff. I think that's a big problem with a lot of people in this field. I don't know necessarily the police side, unless you're paged out, that kind of deal. How many times have you been having a birthday party for one of the kids and the pager goes off?
Right.
You got to say yes or no. And a lot of people, when they're young in their career, I'm one of them. I was an old guy when I got into this. It was yes. I got to go save the day. You know, and the family back home suffers. You know, the kids want dad there.
And I think that's a great example because, yeah, we want to go do that. However, there are times I will still, if there's an accident that seems like it's a big deal, or there's a house fire, something like that, and I know that, like in our department, we're not sure how many people are going to show up, I can't stay at home and let that go. But my kids know that. But it could be something else, or even though I feel like I should go, the payoff to stay home is greater, right? Like that's the perfect example of weighing the options, because my kids understand they might not want daddy to leave, but they understand why I'm leaving, and we're in this as a family. If you remember when I had my wife on here, she talked about that. We're in this as a family. So my sacrifice of leaving, they often want to make that sacrifice. And I say that, like, if they had a choice, they wouldn't. But they know, like, we want daddy to go and help. So even in that, making those decisions, because I used to be there too, like, man, I'm just going. But I remember not too long ago texting somebody and saying, hey, it's my daughter's birthday or my son, I don't remember, one of my kids' birthday, and we'd actually tried to celebrate the birthday 2-3 times, and we were so busy we couldn't. So I'm like, no, I'm not going. And I just texted, the department group chat and said, no, I'm not coming,
Right.
Well, but you guys' situation is tough though, because you have a duty and an obligation. So, when we talk about being busy and saying no or saying yes, whatever, these are optional things, right? These are just a lot of, like, you guys have a job where when the pager goes off, you have an obligation, a duty. Like if you don't show up because you're like, listen, I want to be with the family, but no one shows up, then something serious happens, right? So it's I think your guys' situation is a little bit, I mean, I know what you're saying.
But sometimes you do have to say, no, I'm going to trust that somebody else will. I've been the guy that's shown up time and time again, and I've got to just go, no, I got to trust that somebody else is going to show up and handle this.
Like when we were talking about originally, it's a lot of that optional stuff where we don't have to do it, and nothing's going to happen if it doesn't get done. It just doesn't happen, right? And your guys' thing.
But you mentioned one when you were talking about church, because it's kind of the same feeling in a sense. Because you say, well, they just said, well, we can't find anyone else to do it, and then you go, well, if I don't do it, what's going to happen? It's not going to get done. But on the same hand, you've got to go, okay, but is that my problem? And I don't mean that to sound bad, but as a pastor, here's something we've been really wrestling through is, have we packed our church so full of programs and busyness that we can't do the important? We're causing people to say yes to things that are not the most important thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's quite similar. So here's a question is, I think through this that I think kind of helps us, and you hit it, Steve, when you were talking about your wife. Do we do some of the stuff out of love or duty, especially in the church? Right? Yeah. Am I doing this because I truly want to be there and I love those kids? Not that we don't. But am I just doing this because nobody else will do it, and I feel like I need to do it?
So yes, and so when I was talking about the high school thing, now when I was in Arizona, I used to do high school ministry, and so when I came out here, I'm like, well, they're asking, and I've done it before, but it was really just more of, you asked me, and I'm like, all right, I mean, I don't have the time for it. And I told them, like, hey, I'll show up when I can, but you're right, there wasn't, like, my heart wasn't into it. Like, my ministry, I mean, first and foremost, it's at home, but it's this podcast. Like, that's where God is leading me. Because that's another thing. Like, where's God leading you, right? I mean, are you praying about it? And is God leading you to do something? Or are you just doing it on your own accord? Because that's where you get the burnout and all that stuff too. Because you feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this stuff. It's like, no, maybe the Lord said, no, it's not you, it's somebody else. I wasn't calling you to go do that, but you just kind of took it upon yourself to roll out the door, Yep. Just
there you go, buddy. Good luck.
Yeah, and then you roll around and look goofy for a while, But no, it's no, absolutely. I think you're right. You have to have a passion for what you're doing, and I think God puts it on your heart as a passion when you pray about it. You know, like, God, I'm really feeling this, and He opens the door for that. Versus you just feel obligated. I feel like I need to do this because there's nobody else. What am I going to do?
Right. Well, and I think this is such a great, and we're starting to kind of run out of time here, but such a great topic, because I find myself, what you said, Rich, we could train 24 days a month. There's so many classes that are out there and so many chances, but then I go, okay, but then I've got to push my family aside again for a little while, and I've got to do this. And it's not that we never take them, because I have taken some,
right.
and they're valuable. I look back at some that I didn't want to take, but I took because I felt I should, and just seeing how God worked through those in my life. It's not that we don't, but it would be very easy to really just kind of pile up all those accomplishments because they look good when you're applying, or they look good when you're talking to somebody. Oh yeah, I've got that certification. I got that and instead of just going, no, I'm good where I'm at right now. Maybe later, I've got one class right now that I'm like, I look at that and go, I kind of want to take it. I mean, I don't. Some of those classes, like, who does? But I'm really literally just said, no, I'm going to wait until I actually need it to take it. I've taken some other classes that I didn't need, and I'm really thankful to have them behind me, because when the time comes, I'll have them. But it's that weighing it out. What about overtime for the full-timers? Right? I mean, that's another one.
Yeah.
We take it, and not that overtime is bad. I'm not saying that. You have to weigh out, what are your yeses. I hear some of these full-timers say, well, my kids grew up and, I missed everything. But how many times were you not there that you could have been because you took an overtime shift?
Oh, I've seen that way too often, where guys put the money before everything. And then by the time they figure it out, it's too late.
It's too late.
Right. All that money ain't going to buy you time.
And what's sad is, talk about that, you see the true sadness in their face, because they realize I screwed up and there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
And then now, you got getting divorced and all those things that come along with it. You just see it. It's like, so all that money you made now just went to your ex-wife.
Right. Yeah.
Or at least half of it did, so it's sadly enough. But
well, let me leave us with a passage of scripture that I thought fit well with this. Ephesians 5:16 and 17. Paul says, look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of time, because the days are evil. I think that's what this is all about. Looking carefully how we live our life so that we can make the best use of our time. Not just good use, but the best use.
Last point, it's interesting. I've noticed such a change in my kids the last, since I started this new job, because they see that now I'm present and I'm there, and they realize it, and they know, wow, Daddy gave up a lot because we're important, and they see it. And it's been crazy. Like, I got some stories I have to tell you off air, some really cool things that have happened lately that literally brought me to tears. I started crying like a baby. I admit it. So, that investment in God and investment in our families they're priceless. The job is there, the money will always be there, but man, invest in the right areas.
Well, let us know in the comments what you think. Maybe some tips you've learned for saying no when you really want to say yes. Let us know. If we made you think, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Share this.
If we didn't make you think, hit the like button too.
Yeah, and let us know. You got to step it up a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah, reach out to us. Email us. Get it. Yeah,
it's been a while. Can you hit this one?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. If you have any questions, concerns, anything going on, man, just
he's stumbling. He doesn't.
No,
remember.
I remember.
Okay.
No. If you have anything. He's testing me. Watch what I pass. Is get an A+ in this
Steve
test
right
I'll forget. I'll give my personal email. No, it's ffifpodcast@gmail.com.
Ooh, look at him go.
Oh,
look at him go.
What's our motto? What's our motto?
Who knows? I have no clue.
Facing the fires that forge
embracing.
There we see. I can't even do it, man.
Who's running this thing here? Embracing the fires that forge our character.
Yeah.
Good job,
man.
Right.
You're hired.
No, if you have anything, please get with us. Write to us. Let us know how we can pray for you. Any show ideas, anything you want to hear from us, let us know. If you just have something going on, you want to talk. Just let us know. God uses this. This is a ministry, and God uses this, and we're here. God uses this for you. So make sure to also catch us on your favorite podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. And also, do not forget.
Well, hey, I got something here. How about this? How about maybe we need to say no to some things so we can say yes? Because sometimes we just sit down and do a hot tub. Like that. And then, if you're going to do that, you might as well say yes to going on over to the website, redflannelcoffeeco.com. See, we're just a little rusty. redflannelcoffeeco.com. When you purchase your coffee and check out, use the code PJ30. Get 30% off your entire coffee order.
Good coffee.
That was your opportunity to throw Jake under the bus and do like a PJ 50.
Yeah, except it wouldn't work.
No, but boy, he'd be amused on his way to work
Like,
Friday morning when he heard
Get all
this.
these people asking me, writing me about my 50%
That's Steve.
off.
Steve's the one that gives away
That's
his whole
true.
company.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to buy someone a bag of coffee too. We got to get I get a challenge out there. I'm still waiting. We got to think of a good challenge for me to do it. I'll do it.
All right.
Good luck.
The first person. Hold on.
Oh, no.
The first person.
This always means more work for me.
No.
Are you prepared to edit?
No, I'm going to do this. Hey.
I'm going to do this.
The
That way, if you need to edit, just remember my hand was raised.
Hold on. I'm going to make a challenge right now. The first person that emails me a show idea at ffifpodcast@gmail.com, I will personally get you some coffee. I'll get you a bag of coffee. Personally.
All right.
So you hear me?
It better be a good one, though.
It's got to be a good one. It can't be some flimsy thing. It's got to be a good show idea. But the first person that emails me a show idea, and it can't be you guys. And you can't mess.
Hey, TJ, just text me. I'll give you a cell phone number.
No. You guys can't be a part of it because I know you like to get people to email me and mess with me a little bit. It has to be someone.
I haven't had anything to do with that, by the way. They have done those things on their own.
Okay. So anybody that's
how easy he is. Even the audience is like, oh, I'm going to bust on Steve.
I know.
Yeah.
Anybody that's not affiliated with the show in some respect, or people with the show in some respect,
everybody out. We are worldwide, baby.
I am already emailing.
I need the guy in South America. Remember that guy in South? I need him to email. That's what I need.
All right.
But
what happens
all right,
at
let's land this
the
plane.
first request is Steve resigns?
wow.
I'll buy you a cup of coffee.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Oh,
We're back and we're
I was gonna say welcome
shooting
back.
them across the
give me a
bow.
month off. I get frisky.
All right. Thanks so much for watching.
All right,
We'll
take
see you in the
care.
next episode.